Great to see all of you here. Certainly looking forward to another exciting season. This group have an opportunity, looking back at last season, a lot of great things accomplished, continuing to build top three finish, finishing at the top of the conference, top two or so in scoring, field goal percentage, and anytime I think you have a team that had the combination of players that we had last year and losing three starters and finishing with the number one player taken in the NBA draft, we know that we have some areas that we're certainly going to have to grow, and we're going to have to do that by committee. And with this team early on, the chemistry, the excitement from these guys gives us reason to really be excited. And I know they're looking forward to building on a lot of successes from last year. And with a challenging schedule that we will be faced with early on, it will give us an opportunity to find out where we are. We've had great play from our guards, obviously having to fill the spot from Tim Quanterman leaving last year as a point guard. We think Skylar Mays have done a tremendous job early on, along with Jalen Patterson there at the point. And I think one of the biggest surprises with Duop Reith from junior college, from Lee, have done a great job of filling in and doing something that we felt like we missed last year, a rim protector, a guy that can really play there in the paint, excellent rebounder, defending the paint, and also can stretch the defense offensively in terms of the way that he plays, and excellent athlete, really run the floor. So we will have a different look than we had a year ago, but we've had some growth in Aaron Epps. I think he's done an excellent job of working out really during the summer, really have improved as well. In Craig Victor, we feel that's going to have an opportunity to step up and out of the shadow somewhat that he played in last year and be more of a dominant force for us from the start. But a lot of new guys, including Wade Sims, I think that he's done a good job of transitioning from high school and looking forward to him being out on the floor. We've moved him from the post area, from playing inside, more on the perimeter now. And Kieran Haywood, we think, has given us, shown a great bright spot with his ability to really stretch the floor and shoot, and in the athleticism that he really provides and bring to our team. So with that being said, we can't wait to get started, and it'll be here before we know it on, obviously, November 12th when our season gets started against Wofford.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey.
Chemistry gets tossed around a lot in sports. Do you feel like there's a different chemistry there and maybe a better chemistry with this group after last year?
I think that's one of the good things that we can point to. I think a lot of the guys that are returning from last year's team maybe felt like talent-wise that we were really deep and really good in some areas. But I think they understand the growth of this team. The guys that have an extra year under their belt understand the importance and the things that we have to work on, and I think that's across the board. And one of the areas we feel like we really have to improve on is on the defensive end of the floor. And we feel that chemistry it will play a big part of that in terms of our team. And you can't be selfishly on the defensive end of the floor. You have to play as a team, and that's a commitment that we have to make as a group. And I think along with the commitment and with the right chemistry, we can be a better defensive basketball team. And so I think that's maybe a term to get tossed around a lot. But when you're locked into it and you buy into it, I think it's the difference in whether your team have success or not.
Coach, haven't seen Duop in the first couple of days of practice. He looks very impressive, especially handling the ball. You've talked about what he can bring defensively, but what kind of offensive options is he going to provide this team?
Well, he's the best post perimeter shooter that we've had. I thought Johnny O'Brien was capable of stretching the defense a little bit. He actually have a little bit better range than Johnny displayed when he was here. Duop can really run the floor. He's excellent in terms of being able to get the ball off the glass and push it, somewhat like Ben did last year, and can really run the floor with post guys and get out in front. So I think he's going to be an excellent addition for us on the offensive end of the floor. But that's something we look forward to, that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for teams on the defensive end to cheat and play off of our post guys with the offensive abilities that he have.
Coach, you missed out on the NCAA tournament last year, and you have a challenging schedule to start out, including going to play a tournament against teams like Louisville and Wichita State. What does that do for a team that's coming off maybe a disappointing season, not making it to tournament play?
Well, first off, our guys understand that throughout the year, they felt as a whole that a lot of bright things happen. They have a lot of bright spots. I think the one thing that we're all disappointed in, we fell short of getting our name called on Selection Sunday. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of positive things that would happen when you talk about creating a team that had the third largest increase of attendance last year, that you point to a top 3 finisher, a team that was picked 4th or 5th or whatever in the league. So there are a lot to point to, and that's what these guys look to. Last year's behind them. Our goal is always to try to get to the tournament. This year will be no exception. And this group is looking forward to putting their best foot forward, and that's what they work towards daily, to be one of those teams. And we're hopeful that our conference will continue to get better. Hopeful a lot of the moves that our conference office have made and some people that they've put in position to help promote our men's basketball will help us as well. So we're hopeful if we can finish in the top of the league like we did last year, name will be called, and these guys' hard work won't go in vain.
Johnny, last year there was a lot of excitement, obviously, with the roster and everyone that was playing on it, but it also, created maybe not friction, but some guesswork as far as, what kind of team you wanted to be. Do you feel like this year you maybe have a better identity on who's going to be doing what, when they're going to be doing it, those kinds of things, and maybe not so much figuring it out on the fly in games?
Yep. I thought we certainly had a good roster fit and some really good names out there and an excellent player in Ben. Unfortunately, one of the things that I think that Ben wasn't equipped with was a guy that had the expertise in terms of stopping people from getting injured on our team. And unfortunately, when Keith Hornsby went down, it forced us into a bit of a different rotation and someone who I thought was a leader on our team and on both ends, defensively, offensively, what he was able to provide. So that hurt us. Now, with this year's team, we will be different. And we'll look for different scoring opportunities. Perimeter, I think Brandon Sampson, a young man who I think has worked extremely hard over the summer, showed some bright signs last year. If he and Antonio Blakeney continue their growth, we will certainly get some great scoring from our perimeter areas. Skylar Mays, who's a pure point, and if we can keep Jalen Patterson healthy, that alone will help strengthen us there on the perimeter. And then certainly we'll have to, again, work by committee and see what our post guys will be able to provide and bring to this team, especially right off the bat. You talk about Craig Victor and Dwight Breath and the growth of Epps, and we're hopeful Albert Robinson injury can stay injury-free and continue to make some positive strides as well.
As a follow-up, do you think it'll be more 1 through 5 scoring?
Yeah, well, I think we'll certainly have good balance. I thought we had good balance scoring last year really throughout. Ben obviously was our dominant guy there in the paint and scoring, but when we had Keith, I thought Keith was really solid. And when Keith went down, and I thought Blakeney playing in his shatters last year, last 10, 11 games of the year, he averaged about 18, 20 points a game. So he was able to, he was playing a certain role early on, and he stepped out of those shadows. We're hopeful that he'll get off to a great start this year, and we will have a good balanced scoring attack. The key is going to be guys understanding how to play together, hitting open guys, sharing the basketball. Hopefully our assists will be up. Our field goal percentage will continue to climb. And being a balanced scoring team certainly will help against our opponents, because I think it makes us much tougher to scout against when you play that way.
Coach, you mentioned Skylar Mays pushing Jalen at the point guard position. What have you seen out of Sky in the first week of practice to make you think he can be the leader at the point for this team?
Well, I tell you what I saw more so than even when we started practice is just his offseason, how hard he worked during the summer, time and energy that he put in, and as soon as school started as well. He puts a lot of time in the gym. He's put a lot of time into his body. He has a great basketball IQ, understands how to play, and as he continues to develop and understand exactly what we're looking for as we implement our offense and defensive schemes, he's going to continue to get better because he does a great job of picking things up. So we're really thrilled with Skylar and know that he's going to be a great bright spot on this team.
Looks like from up on the balcony, Craig Victor has kind of slimmed down a little bit. Did he work a little harder on that this year?
Well, he's going to be a little bit disappointed in that because he's worked hard to try to beef up and get bigger and look strong. No, he's gotten faster. He's a little leaner than he was last year, but he's stronger. And he's really worked on his upper body and put a lot of time and energy in and doing that. He's worked on his jumper as well. A spot we thought he did a good job last year. We probably didn't take advantage of him enough with being in the game, but we thought that he shot the ball well for us last year and made some good plays. And unfortunately for him, he didn't start playing with us until after Christmas. So trying to shake off a little rust from the long layoff, I think starting from the beginning of this season is going to certainly be beneficial for him and us this year.
Yeah, Johnny, you talked about the attendance increase last year. Of course, a lot of people want to see Ben play. Now that he's gone and the way the last season ended, do you think you're going to have to win fans back to come to watch y'all play?
Well, I can tell you when I first got here where our attendance was and the way that it has grown each year. We're excited about that, and we're glad that Ben was here. We recruited him, and that's one of our jobs to make sure that we put the best group of guys and team out there on the floor to create an excitement for our fan base. And we'll still be LSU at the end of the day when we're out there taking the floor, and we've got to make sure that we're playing the right way to create the excitement for our fans to come and cheer on. And I think if we're doing things the right way with this basketball team, those folks will come out and support this basketball team, and we're excited about that. That's one thing about our fans that I've known for many, many years. If you're playing the right way and you're doing the right things, they are more concerned about the letters across the front of that jersey, LSU, than the name across the back.
Johnny, right in front. Can you, excuse me, can you compare Jalen and Skylar, what they both bring to the point guard position? And then when Brandon gets healthy, I think maybe he can play a little point. What can he offer there as well?
Brandon Jenkins, who hadn't been able to play because of injury, he brings a great deal of speed, probably one of the most tenacious on-ball defenders that we've had since I've been here. He's extremely fast, lengthy. He has a desire to defend. Can certainly score, get to the basket really well. Jalen Patterson, as we know, can really stretch the defense. He can knock down shots, but he's a crafty ball handler as well. Can get inside the defense and make plays, and really a good passer. He has his numbers are very low in terms of turnover. So the way that he plays, and he can certainly get the ball from A to B and create opportunities for others on the floor. Skylar's has a little bit more, because of his size and strength, he's a little bit more deceptive in terms of the way that he plays, the way that he moves on the floor, his passing ability. One of the things he wasn't counting on to do as much in high school was shoot the basketball. He's worked really hard during the offseason to improve his shot, and he's really done a great job of making plays for us and forcing our perimeter guys to have to defend, and they can't play off of him. So all those guys bring something a little bit different to the team, and but the most experienced guy, because of the number of games he's played at this level, would be Jalen Patterson.
Coach, maybe a little bit lost in this. What do you guys expect from Brandon Sampson this year, and how has he developed since last year?
Well, good thing about Brandon, he's got a sidekick over there in Antonio Blakeney, and he's not a guy that people can just focus and concentrate on and just trying to stop him from scoring because of the explosiveness that Blakeney brings. But Sampson in his own right should be able to help Antonio because of his ability to score and really stretch the defense, and he's excellent in terms of a ball in the open floor. If we can get him out in the open floor and allow him to attack the basket with his athleticism, it brings a certainly added dimension to our team. The area that I want them to get better at and more buy-in, and they're very capable because of the size, strength, length that they have, is on the defensive end of the floor. And both of them have shown signs of being able to do that. And Brandon Sampson especially, I thought over in Australia last year, he may have been our best perimeter defender early on. And as the season progressed, it kind of tapered off a little bit. But we know what he's capable of doing. It's just getting them locked in and doing that throughout.
Back to Craig for a second. How important is that blue collar element that he tends to bring? How much does that mean to this team in particular?
Well, we thought coming in last year that Craig had the ability to be a leader, and he showed that early on. And this year, I think, again, not playing the shares, looking around. He's got a year under his belt. He's been with this basketball team. So we feel that he will play a very pivotal role for us there in the paint area and really a tone setter for this basketball team, what he's capable of doing on the defensive end of the floor and on the offensive end. Got to get him to improve on the rebounding glass. Last year, I think he may have averaged around 6 rebounds a game. That's a bit low for what we would think because of his temperament, as hard as he works. We think that he should be closer to a double-figure rebound, and we look forward to him hopefully impacting our team that way.
Thanksgiving in the Bahamas, nice score. How'd you work that?
Well, we didn't. We were actually looking for great competition, and we found both. We found a great place to play and find some tough competition at the same time, and it'll be a great challenge for us, and we're hopeful. We're excited that we'll have a lot of fans following and traveling with us as well.
So, and then I never thought I'd see it happen in football, but are you going to open basketball practice now for the rest of the season for everybody all the time?
Well, the only person I think that you have to possibly have a beef with in terms of basketball practice is Kent Lowe. I've never closed basketball practice. He just didn't make it aware that it was open to you guys as much. So I didn't have anything to do with that. We've always welcomed you guys coming in, watching us early on, so you could obviously do your job, and we've always welcomed that. But we understand how tight your schedule is at times, and if you don't want to stay and work long hours, you leave early, and we'll stay here and get ours in from 3 to 5:30 or so. But you're more than welcome, Lita, and come watch us a bit until you start writing bad stories, and then we'll close the door. He won't put his 2 cents in. I'm sure he won't say anything.
Johnny, you talked a little bit about Epps's growth. What do you see from him, especially on offense? Do you see him continue to spread?
I tell you, if you watch our games last year against Kentucky, Ben Simmons went to the bench, I think, with 15 minutes to go in the first half. Epps really kind of changed the game. He picked and popped. Guards coming off, hit 2 big threes for us. Another game I think we're playing in here at home. He's coming down the middle, game tight, and Ben, I'm looking for him. He can certainly run the floor and raise up and get to the rim, finish. And it's just a matter of him being more confident. Last year it was tough to get him a lot of minutes because the guy he was playing behind happened to be the number 1 player taken in the draft, so there were a lot of minutes taken from him in that area. I think his confidence are high now because he knows that there are minutes available to him, and his hard work certainly during the off season will pay off, and I think you will see the versatility that Aaron Epps will bring to this team. Very capable shooter from outside, and certainly can finish at the rim on the break. And again, one of the areas he'll continue to improve and get better is on the defensive side of the basketball.
Johnny, I know you get a little tired of talking about last year, but how much was it a missed opportunity to improve the status, the image, everything else of the program?
I can tell you this. I thought we've got more exposure than anybody in the country. I don't think there was a day went by that LSU wasn't talked about prior when Ben Simmons wound up committing to us and being a part of our program weekly. I don't care where you looked at, magazine or whatever, via the internet, we were always there. And we wouldn't trade that in for anything. We thought we took advantage of a lot of great opportunities with the exposure that we got, the type of schedule that we played. We were 8-1 here at home. It's very difficult to get any better outside of going 9-0 on your home schedule. So we had a lot of positive things happening. Again, the one box that we didn't check last year is getting to the NCAA tournament, but I don't think that's the end all. I think when you talk about disappointment, we were, but there are a lot of bright spots with this basketball team last year, and culminating with Ben being selected the #1 player taken in the draft last year, and we can certainly build off of that. It's only one team wind up winning the national championship, and that was Villanova last year. Everybody else have room to obviously improve and get better, and we happen to be one of those teams.
Hey, Coach. Elbert being in his 3rd year now, it seems like we hear, okay, he's making progress, and it doesn't translate. And just for fans, I mean, you know, a guy that's 7'1", but what can he do to, you know, to finally kind of get on track here?
Well, I tell you, he can really man the paint for us. I thought at times last year he was able to get in front of the rim and where we like to play him at. He's a guy that you almost have to double team if you're going to stop him when he get both feet set in the paint around the basket, because he can score from that area. Our biggest deal is trying to keep him healthy, and if we can do that, last year, after the end of his freshman year, we shut him down, had our strength conditioning coach to take him and make sure that he continued to lift, get his muscle mass and all those things ready to prepare to carry a 7'1", 300-pound plus guy. And this year he got off to a good start, and unfortunately he got set back with another injury. And when you're that size, it's important that you're able to take care of your body. And we're hopeful that we can manage him this year in a sense that keep him healthy and get some positive minutes out of him. And if we can get him anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes a game, it would be huge for us with him, because that would mean he's able to provide a lot for us and he can put a lot of pressure on the opposing team.
Big picture question here. Ben Simmons, I agree, it was exciting. It was healthy for the program, but did it also create a spotlight? You know, you talked about guys playing in shadows already here today. Do you feel like now, maybe not that he's gone and it's disappointing or anything, but just that these guys are anxious to show that they're a team as well, that they can play as well?
Oh, absolutely. No, I think when you talk about last year's team and talk about those guys who played in the shadow, I thought it was healthy for them to have to play in the environment that they did last year because of, one, what we got from other teams. Every team that we played last year, we took their best shot. We didn't go into any games, and we did that with a lot of guys that didn't have a great deal of experience. So from that and the pressure and everything that they played under last year, they should have an opportunity to improve and play extremely well this year because what they went through a year ago. When we went on the road last year, we outdrew anybody else in our conference when they played in somebody else's building. So that means that we took a lot of teams' best shot in front of some tremendous crowds, and that I think this team had an opportunity to grow from and the experience, and we should be able to build from that.
I think from the first day you got here, you talked about not wanting to be just a team one year. You wanted to build a program, get off the roller coaster. With that in mind, how important do you feel like this season might be to move that forward?
Yeah, I think the good thing is we felt like we've improved in a lot of areas each year, and we talked about not just trying to have a winning season, but a winning program. We feel like we've done that. We've gone from 2 9-9 seasons to 2 11-7 seasons, and top three. When you talk about where the program was 2 years prior to getting here, 14 teams in the league, they were in 14th place. We're in 3rd place last year. We feel like that's the right direction that we're headed. And again, this year's team, we're hopeful to continue to improve on that. So we're not blind by any sense of where these guys would like to be, but we love expectations and we like improvement and we like the edge that you have to play with night in and night out. So our guys are certainly not sitting around and resting and excited about what transpired. You went 8-1 last year. You finished 11-7. We're not comfortable with that. Each year we want to strive to get better and try to battle for and compete for championships, and we feel like we're getting closer to doing that.
Johnny, you talked about experience. I think over the past 4 years that you've been here, you guys have averaged somewhere around like 270 in the country in experience. This year, I wouldn't say that you're vastly experienced, but you have some juniors at least. Does this feel like an older team to you? And did you recruit specifically to try to get a little bit older?
Well, we tried to recruit in areas that we felt that was going to certainly help us, and we couldn't go out and get high school guys, we feel, to fill in of what we were losing last year. And I think when we brought in Brandon Jenkins and Dwight Breath, we felt that was two guys that were pivotal for us in terms of what we needed, a point guard with experience, another post guy from what we were losing from last year's team, and to be able to put those guys together and with the balance of this team, and some exciting things could happen for them. One is going to give us balanced scoring. I thought those two guys, the way that they played at the junior college, the energy that they played with, what they brought on the defensive end of the floor, was something that this team missed last year. So the addition of those guys, certainly we felt that was going to improve this year's team.